Guys, Dhouse here with Brickhouse Studios. I'm gonna bring you in a weekly video that we'll be doing every week, obviously, since it's weekly. This will be a little fancy advice. Typically, I'll be joined by my roommate Billy, or the Billdozer, as you can call him. And but we had some scheduling, and I bought Madden late difficulties this week, so he wasn't able to make the advice part of the video. But he will be part of it from here on out. And basically what will happen is we'll just play a game. Play a game of Madden. It'll usually be a matchup coming up in the week. Might be the Thursday night game, might be the Monday night game, just a game we're interested in that week. Like occasionally we might make it Eagles versus Saints, just because I'm a Saints fan, he's an Eagles fan. This week my roommate Bobby filled in, played against me. We just did the Saints matchup this week. He unfortunately did beat me on some bull crap, as you can see. But basically what you can come here is, we'll give you some like waiver wire advice on your fantasy teams, just general fantasy advice, shooting the shit, talking about it. Might get off a topic a little, talking some noise about football, talking about our fantasy teams, and talking trash about the game we're playing. But, for the most part, you can come get some solid fantasy advice. We'd like to think we're pretty good at it, and know what we're talking about. Not so much this week, but there will be in the future more, we actually do have a lot of graphs and Excel sheets we keep up on our own, and we'll be tossing some of that up here for you guys to see as well. We just don't have any of that stuff for you here this week either, so you don't have hard numbers to back up what we're saying. We'll kind of jump into it of who should pick up a little later. Expect this video to come up on, Tuesday afternoon as well. Typically, so you can make your waiver claims for standard ESPN leagues that go through on Wednesday nights. So we'll also have this up sooner for you guys in the future. It's just kind of an odd week. We decided to do it late. Should have really started at the beginning of football season, but we got started late, and so yeah. Anyway. So people you should definitely be thinking about adding this week, and we'll touch on some people that you probably aren't available in some of your leagues if they're more competitive like mine are, like ours is. Mine are. It's a 12-man league. It's pretty intense waiver wire. Like for example, there's only really one person worth a damn. You could get unless you're in a quarterback situation in our league. And then after that person, there's one person kind of an option. Well, I guess there's two. And not anymore because I got one. And now the person that person dropped is an option. But anyway, we'll get touching a little bit of that later. But I'll also cover like some people that might be available. Like for example, Andy Dalton's is taken in like almost half the leagues, like 40% or something. And he's a pretty good quarterback pick up and play. If you're having quarterback problems, I have Aaron Rodgers, so I'm not worried about quarterback. But I mean, he's available in our league where quarterbacks aren't too big of a. Playing smart fantasy, we don't put too much value on them. You have your one. Picking up a backup is really any quarterback can get you 15 points. Outside of the top 5, it's not worth drafting high. That's more of a general fantasy advice. The draft's over. It's not time for that. So, yeah, I guess that's enough of kind of giving you what to expect typically. I can just go ahead with the advice for this week. And but just know that it typically will be a lot more advice. I'm kind of giving you guys a lot of intro here, since I'm solo. The show will be more me and Billy typically giving you guys fantasy advice, and a little back and forth conversation with us about the fantasy world just in general. Okay, so kind of the top people this week you should be looking at. Like I said, most of it is quarterback. So if you're not having quarterback problems, it's probably a dry waiver wire because most of your people have been scooped up. But Tyrod Taylor, he probably got added last week in most of your leagues, but he's still there definitely. It's not a fluke. Pick him up. It's happening. Andy Dalton, he's been consistent too. 3 weeks in a row. Solid quarterback ads there. If you still if those people aren't available and you're still needing a quarterback, Derek Carr is available in most leagues too. Pretty solid numbers there. I almost cleared a spot. I don't run a backup quarterback when I have a top 5 like I do with Aaron Rodgers right now. And I almost wanted to have that good of a, like, he was doing pretty good, and I was like, dang, that's pretty solid points. But I'll talk about what I decided to go with my last spot instead. Because that was a little different decision, kind of rolling the dice, but then Billy actually ended up knowing that I wanted to wait on Derek Carr and picked him up so I couldn't do it later in case I wanted to. So, the woes of playing people are actually good. So yeah, if for some reason Alfred Blue's available in your league, he was only available in ours because someone stupidly dropped him after he had a bad week and then he decided to go off. But you can add him in a really deep league, but honestly, Arian Foster's coming back. So any Houston running back besides Arian Foster is about to be worth basically nothing. So, you know, he's probably not available. Definitely won't try to deal for him because he had a good week, and pick him up, but expect to drop him soon. Yeah, so and also I had a friend text me for some advice, and complaining about how dry their waiver wire was, and Bilal Powell was available. You know, Chris Ivory's hurt right now, so he's a solid play for, you know, at least till Ivory comes back. And even when he comes back, you know, he might have to limit time coming back from that injury. So, you know, Bilal Powell's a solid pickup and potentially play. And I know he didn't do great on his numbers last week, but it's still starting running back's a starting running back. Devontae Freeman proved that for me this past week. I actually just found out a few minutes ago before I started recording this video that my trade rate was successful. And I got Devontae Freeman for Julian Edelman, and my team is now complete. So, if you have Devontae Freeman, I suggest trading him. Unless you have Coleman, then it's a basically you're just holding on to the Falcons' backfield, which is a pretty solid play. So if you still have both of them, go ahead, do that. Billy was planning on doing that, had Coleman drop Freeman when Coleman looked like he had kind of won the job. And Coleman got hurt. Nice snagged Freeman. And everyone knows what happened last week, 37 points. Whoop, whoop. So yeah, there's that. Another, you know, definitely probably available in your league because he was available in ours. He's not taking in very many, less than 20%, I'm pretty sure. Rashard Matthews. He was only available in ours because he got dropped a week previously. And the person who did that hates his life now. But, you know, he's kind of skeptical, didn't think if his production was going to continue like it had been. And it appears it definitely is going to. You know, he appears to be the deep threat instead of what we thought Kenny Stills would be. So definitely Rashard Matthews, wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins. Good pickup. And, you know, maybe even start or a flex appeal, I would say. Just because I'm not sold on him yet. So you probably should definitely have 2 better receivers on, you know, that you trust more. But I'm not saying that they'll end up putting in more points than him right now. So that's why I say flex. This is just you should have 2 receivers you trust more on your team currently. And then, you know, Marvin Jones is, I mean, he's the number 2 wideout on the Bengals. Let's put it that way. I mean, he's gonna get points. He's probably available in your league. You should definitely pick him up. I'm not saying whether or not someone should start is totally based off your team, you know. So I'm not saying, yeah, pick up all these people and play them, but, you know, most likely you have someone on your bench worse than Marvin Jones, or, you know, Bilal Powell, or these quarterbacks if you're having a quarterback problem. You know, if Ruben Randall, he has that potential has been in him the whole time. He does have the issue of dropping balls thrown his way, but like I said, definitely worth a bench spot to see if he can continue, you know, what he's been doing. Charles Sims, I mean, a lot of people saying that he showed that Doug Martin sucks, or that he won the job. That's more just from looking at the stat line. It came from one screen, but that running back situation is pretty garbage. He's the one I'd rather have long term, but neither are too good of an option for you. But Charles Clay, tight end for the Buffalo Bills. If you need a tight end, definitely good look there. The dude's getting points, and if waiver on tight ends is anything like ours, there's nothing else there at all. So that's probably your only option. The nicest way to say that. So yeah, look to him if you're looking for the tight end options. Some other tight ends, I mean, most of those are gonna be taken. If Eric Ebron is there, he should be gone though. Yeah, Eric Ebron. I mean, most other tight ends. It's really not a good year for the tight end. All the obvious names are taken. Kel, Solson. Obviously, Gronkowski's a freak. Everyone scooped up Baltimore's tight end after he put up the one big week, and now he just had that one big week, and that's all it is. Just like I thought, so I didn't scoop him up. But some potential, pick up and stash won't be very useful now, but maybe you'll be loving yourself for the pickup later. And actually, who I used my claim on this week because my team didn't really need anyone to actually play, like no one on the waiver. Well, my initial claim was for Rashard Matthews, but someone beat me on the waiver claim because they were higher on the order, one pick higher. So instead of getting Rashard Matthews, I decided to pick up Thomas Rawls, who, for those of you who don't know, Thomas Rawls is running back on Seahawks. He's a backup, but Lynch, went on after halftime because he was hurt. It wasn't a very minor injury, nothing. Not saying that Marshawn Lynch is hurt right now, and so that's why this ad is most likely, is better for Lynch owners than anyone. I'm not a Lynch owner, but just went for it because I had a spot, and I'll hang on to him for a few weeks and see if it happens soon. It probably won't. But who knows? I'll hate myself if it ever does happening. I do drop him. But if Lynch gets hurt, Rawls showed Sunday that the dude can tote the ball. The Seahawks offense stops for no one. Alright, so that about wraps up all the advice I have this week. It'll be typically a lot more advice and less introduction. Also, maybe just some more of, what players we think should be maybe getting benched, that we think are just in a rut, things like that as well. And Billy will be obviously more involved because he'll actually be here with me versus not. The original plan for this series was to, entirely be me and Billy giving our advice and more of a back and forth conversation about the fantasy because we feel like you guys will like that a lot more, and also we'll get a lot more information across to you guys that way as well. So we actually have a lot of potential plans for this series, but typically for now, just look here for some fantasy advice. Mainly your waiver claims that week. We're going to push it out on Tuesday afternoon, so you have that and you can watch this and get your advice on who to add for your claims before they go through on Wednesday morning or Tuesday night, however you want to think of it, because it's about, for example, 4 a.m. my time, so usually asleep. But yeah, that's what you can mainly see. Like I mentioned earlier, definitely comment for start sit advice. We would love that to be a thing. Us to go there and tell you who to start throughout the week on your team. Just could not stress how much more to you guys how much we want you guys to do that and for us to respond to you there. And you can reach out on any of our social media if you did like the video. Like, comment, subscribe, the whole 9 yards that you get after every video you ever watch. I hate giving it, but it does help a lot. We do appreciate it. And but even more than any of that, we would love for you guys to comment your start sit stuff and us to kind of start that as a thing in the comment of the YouTube video. Feel free to hit us up on any social media, though, Twitter, Twitch, the works. The Brickhouse Studios, we have all that stuff. Billy's not actually a member of the Brickhouse Studio. He's just my member. He's just my roommate, not member. Don't know what my brain was thinking there. But you know, he knows a lot about fantasy, and he might be decent at Madden. He beat me earlier today. But whatever. We're going to play a little Madden, talk a little trash. It'd be much more conversation style, and less focus on just the waiver claims, since there will be less introduction and topics like that. And also a little higher production value with some graphs and things of that nature. See you guys next week.